Welcome back to episode 6 of my virtual dog training sessions. The following video consult I did for one of my rescue partners. Some of you may or may not know my wife and I, we've been involved in animal rescue, specifically pit bull rescue, since 2002. And I also offer a low-cost enrichment program down here at my house for rescues all along the East Coast. I try to make myself available to my rescue partners and their foster homes to help prepare dogs for their forever homes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this video consult.
I've had her for, I want to say, maybe it's like we're getting on to 3 weeks now.
She's with you 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other, so she's really great with every person she seemed to have encountered, and her history said that as well. No history of attacking anybody, biting, scratching, or anything. She does get very upset with other animals. She gets very riled up. Usually when we're walking, though, it's like she might bark and freak out for a second, but then we'll pass. And then the past like week or so, she's gotten a lot better. Like I ran into Petco, and then when we were driving away, she saw a dog, and like, you know, she like came to attention, but like didn't bark or anything, which is great. And then the other day we had a pretty bad incident. Sunday, I think, I don't know if Elise told you, but I probably let my guard down a little bit, and we went to the park, and so we were sitting down at the park, and she would see a dog, and like dogs would pass by, and like she might come to attention, she might have like barked once, but the dog kept, like, people kept going with their dog, and everything was fine. She sat down, she was good. And like kids would run right by us, she never jumped up. Bikes, everything was pretty easy. And then at one point a woman came by with, I guess, like her 2 poodles, I think they were, and Sloan started barking and freaking out, and so then that's when I like stood up and like got on top of her, because like my stuff was sitting on the ground, so couldn't just get up and walk away. And Sloan was barking and freaking out, and I asked the woman, I was like, if you could just keep walking. Like, she just kind of stood there, and I think she was saying something to me, but I couldn't hear. And I was like, if you just keep going, like keep walking, it'll be fine. I'm so sorry. She's a foster. Like, she's just, you know, figuring out, getting used to things. And the woman didn't move for some reason, didn't leave. And Sloan ended up dragging me a little bit, and then did get to the dog, and the 2 dogs fought for a bit, but then people came and helped, got us separated. But Sloan, because of all of these things that, I don't know if Elise told you anything, but it just seemed like nobody was really doing their jobs, and everything was a bit of a mess. But both dogs were okay, people were okay, and Sloan, but they took her and they kept her in Newark shelter for 2 nights. Yeah.
Wow.
Which was just really awful, and we just were doing everything consistently trying to get her back, and it was just so frustrating, because they said that they were taking her because both dogs have to be quarantined for 10 days, but because Sloan wasn't licensed, because she's a foster, then she can't, then she has to be, like, they have to take her in and quarantine her for 10 days. So I was like, okay, fine. Is the issue getting a license? So the next day, like, first of all, after begging and begging, trying to get the dog to stay with us, they wouldn't let us keep her. So then they took her that night. And then the next day morning, the people were very helpful in my town, and usually you have to send stuff in, but they were able to like help me out and get me a license for her right away. So we were like, great, now that we have the license, can we have her back? And then they said that suddenly they couldn't, because now they were trying to make sure that Sloan wasn't too dangerous, that they would have to send her back to Long Island. And so then they were waiting to hear back from the other woman and all these other things. And like, then it was just all very unorganized and everything, but we got Sloan back. She still has to stay absolutely on the property, quarantined for the next, I want to say it's like 6 days now, 5 days. And yeah, she's fine at home. Like, she's happy to be home. She's really excited. She's eating fine, sleeping fine. She walks well. It's truly the only thing is other animals.
Okay. So Did she hurt the other dog? Did she bite the other dog?
Yeah, but I think it was very superficial. Like the other dog was fine.
And
Um,
it was a toy poodle or a standard poodle?
I guess it was a standard one. It was a bigger, like Sohn is bigger, but it was a bigger dog.
Okay,
That dog, and then another little tiny one.
gotcha. Did Sloan get bit too?
She got scratched up, so she scratched up on her face and a
Gotcha.
bit.
Okay,
Nothing too severe. And the other dog was again fine as well. Like
right.
once I got Sloan in my car, and I was freaking out and a bit upset. And I guess somebody was there talking to me, and I was just saying, like, I don't know why she didn't move. Like, I don't know why she just didn't move when I asked her, blah, blah, blah. And the lady yelled over, and she said, no, like, your dog just ran over and attacked me out of nowhere. So then that's when I was like, okay, call the cops. So that's when I called the cops and got everybody involved. But I was on my hands and knees looking at her dog, making sure her dog was all right, and making sure she was all right. And the dog was fine. Even the cops said, they're like, oh yeah, the dog walked with her all the way over to her car and came back. Like there was no emergency.
So what kind of collar and leash do you use with Sloan?
So it was just like a standard green collar that was on her. They took it when they went at the shelter, but I also had a harness on her. I want to say I can find it, what it's called. And then the leash is just like a big, thick rope leash that they gave me. It's pretty thick. It has
so you had her attached to the harness or the collar?
Both. So like, cause they said that they were using a, what's it called? Carabiner. But because I didn't have that, but the leash can hook onto both. So I had it because the thing for the harness is on her chest, so I just had the harness and the collar.
Okay, so it's a no pull harness with the front clasp.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And I'm guessing that doesn't work for you.
I mean, well, it had been working up until that time. I think it was I didn't have the right.
Well, let me rephrase that. It works if there's nothing around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So
and I have even when we were walking, I have been able to like hold her back pretty well. It was I think I didn't have my proper footing.
Okay.
And Elise is also in the middle of I think it's on its way here, Freedom Harness. I think it's what it's called.
Right.
That's one that's being sent here. They said that one's a bit better and it allows you to double leash it.
Right. Okay. All right, and then so you're in a home or you in a house or okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we have a house, no fence, but we have like a nice size yard and stuff that just walk around in the back, tie her up and sit down with her so she can wander a bit around me.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and how long is she back with you from the shelter? A day or two?
Yeah, so last night was the second night she was back.
Okay. How was she when she came back home?
She was great, like very happy to be back, kind of back to normal, ran around, smelled things a bit to kind of see where things were, but
no residual effects from being in the shelter?
Nothing that I really noticed.
Okay,
no.
That's okay. I mean, you're still getting to know her as well, so.
Right. She just seemed like quite thirsty, but she was like cuddling up at our feet, wanting to be pet, like jumping up on us, like excited to see us again. Like she was.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna talk to Elise because I'm gonna have her get you a different collar for her, because when she's in a peak state, harnesses aren't going to help you.
Okay.
How old is Sloan? She's only a few years old, right?
Yeah, she's gonna be 6 next month.
6. Okay, so she's full adult. Let me bear with me for a second. I want to see if I could pull up the collar that I'm gonna have Elise send you. I'm sure you've heard of prong collars.
But yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's similar. It's not a metal prong collar. It's similar to them, but it's plastic. It's flat on the outside. It doesn't look like a mean old, archaic device. Let me see if I can pull this up. Bear with me. Okay. Are you on a computer or a phone?
Computer.
Okay, good. You'll be able to see it then. Let me see if I can share this. Okay, can you see it?
There it is. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So how it works is you connect the collar to this piece right there. You connect the leash to that piece, and then the way it works is it kind of tightens the collar around her, and there's no single point of pressure. So yeah, I'm gonna have Elise get this for you. Let me stop this for a second. So what it does is it wraps evenly around the neck, so there's no choking, there's no armpit irritation, because when she spikes, right, you either need to have the best food source available in the world, which, you know, hot dogs or something, which may not do the trick, or some kind of corrective device that can get her attention, or at minimum control her advances, right? So if she does pull. Now the thing with these collars is, and I'll send you a link to, I have a video on my YouTube channel on just like an overview about the collar, just so you can kind of see how it's used and how it's put on. You know, but I'm going to talk to Elise about that. And then if you and I, when you get that collar, then maybe you and I can have another quick call, just so I can do have a little demo kind of thing with you, just to help you through it. It's you know, it's going to help you when you're in those emergency situations, right? Because you've experienced it yourself. I've been experiencing it for my entire career. People don't freaking listen. You know, I mean, please continue, ma'am. Like, I mean, sure to get the F out of here. I mean, you know, we're trying to be polite.
Right. And it was Elise said, and it's like so true. Like, I just, you know, not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but it just felt like, does she have ulterior motives or something? Because it was like, even afterwards, it felt like I was more concerned over her dog than she was. And like, she had just so much time, it felt like, to just walk away and didn't, like, I thought I had control for so long, and I think just fighting her for so long, and like, I think, you know, again, obviously my fault, I should have had more control, but it just felt like, you know, usually dogs will pass, or even here, Sloan, we have a really big window in our front that Sloan likes to just look out of, but sometimes if she sees a wandering cat or another dog or deer, she freaks out, starts barking and stuff, maybe runs around the house a little bit, but like, if I can intercept her, she calms down very quickly.
Good, okay, good.
Like, she doesn't hold on to it at all. But like, so it was just, it felt like almost like Sloan was being taunted, because like this woman's just standing there with her two dogs. Like,
well, what happens is, behaviorally, what happens is first the trigger presents itself, in this case, the two dogs. Now, how were the other dogs? Were they barking at her?
No.
Were they staring at her?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have conflict, and I'm sure Sloan was part of it, the two dogs staring at each other. Do you know if they were males or females?
I don't know.
Okay. So you have the stare, which is the initiation of communication and potential conflict. And then it starts to escalate. Now, if the woman left, you probably would have been able to get Sloan's composure, redirect her maybe with like a sit command or something. But because the trigger didn't leave, and then I'm sure the body language between the two dogs was reciprocating. They were, you know, it was total reciprocity going on, right? So then it just continues to escalate and intensify, and then obviously now you're dealing with a less controllable dog, and I mean, Sloan's a pit, right?
Yeah, it's a terrier mix.
Yeah, so she's a powerful dog. I mean, you know, I had a pit here. I do training at my house for rescues. It was actually, I was just talking to Elise about it. I mean, I'm 210 pounds, and the first couple of weeks he was here, he gave me a run for my money. I mean,
it's like, it really freaked me out, because like I'm a big girl, and Sloan dragged me like,
they're powerful, you know. And that's why, I mean, you know, and the freedom harness is a really good tool, and I think it's something for us to shoot towards. But I'm always of, you know, my training acumen aside, safety is always my first recourse. You know what I mean? It's like, let's have safety and control first, and then, because you can't modify a behavior if you can't manage it first, right? So let's manage it first. Let's get her used to us. Let's get better handling over her, and then we can start advancing her exposure to stimulation, right? So obviously we want to minimize her exposure to high traffic areas right now. Not because we're afraid to expose her to it, because we need some space and time between her last episode.
Right.
Right. We want to separate her so she dissociates walking or anything like that from these bad monsters that are out there. Right. Because I
Right.
mean, it's possible she's just animal intolerant. It's also possible somewhere in her past she developed, a fear that causes her to overreact.
Right.
Because it's one thing to bark and
Now, and I'm not even sure what it's at. Yeah.
what's that?
Like she's barking now, and I'm not even sure. It might be a dog outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'll send you that video link. I'll text it to you, and then there's a couple of things you can do for now. Are you doing any like basic training with her? Sit, come around the house,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And she responds really well to it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to send you a couple of other video links. It's actually, I have like a 7-day dog care challenge on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's we add something every day to their life. You don't have to add it every day. You can add it all at once. I mean, it's mostly so I have 7 separate videos on my channel. You know?
Yeah. I think Elise did send it to me, but I would love to. I started watching them. I'd love to see it again.
Okay. Yeah. So the first one is, we'll just go over it quickly here. The first one is it's kind of make sure everything in the house is calm, right? So that's not currently happening because she's presented with triggers outside through the window and she's reacting. So that reaction and the ensuing overstimulated state of mind is only going to get worse. So if we can't prevent her from that big window, we have to manage the environment. Is she crate trained?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't used her, put her in the crate yet, but she has used it.
Okay. So now you're going to have to kind of separate yourself from feeling bad for her, right? So, because that's the thing with crates, we feel bad, right? But if her behavior continues, it's only going to be solidified in her conditioning. Does that make sense? So if we can't supervise her, because you said when you intervene, you disconnect her right away. If we're unable to monitor and supervise her, then she should be crated right now. Okay. And again, it's just temporary. One thing that, and obviously I'm a trainer, but I've also been in rescue since 2002. And I know firsthand, and you'll probably identify with this, sometimes we get caught up a little bit too much in a dog's past that makes us feel a little sorry for them. And we kind of lavish a little extra attention, right? We're all guilty of it. I don't care who you are, right?
Right.
Sloan needs structure. That's what's going to help her overcome her past. Okay, so utilizing the crate is not a bad thing. Always positive when she goes in the crate. Obviously, come on, girl, come on, throw a little treat in. Good girl. Close the door and walk away. Every time she goes in is always positive. If you give her any kind of chew treats, you can give her a chew treat in the crate, just so there's more positive association. But you do need to monitor and supervise her, because if you don't supervise her, you can't correct or redirect behaviors that you don't want to see.
Right.
And remember, as fosters, as much as we love the dogs that we're fostering, we also have a job to do. Right? Our job is to prepare them for the rest of their lives. Having her barking and snarling at a window and then zipping around the house is not preparing her for the rest of her life, right?
Right.
And this isn't a criticism on you. Again, I'm guilty of this shit too, right? I mean, I get dogs here and like my heart breaks for them, and sometimes I'd be like, all right, Jeff, shut up, you got a job to do. So keep that like job focus in the forefront of your mind too, while giving her love and attention. But the job comes first. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. So I guess my question is, so should we block off the room then? Because it's like our bottom floor, it's like kind of a huge big circle, so you basically can get to any room from any room, but so in that living room is the big window to the outside, and like she always has access to it. Most of the time isn't barking unless there is something there. So is it just that is it okay that keeps happening as long as I redirect her and tell her no? Or if it's going to happen, it has to be like she has to be in the crate.
If you could restrict access to that environment for now, that would be fun. That would be okay, right? If it's not too much of an inconvenience to your regular household activity. So I mean, if you can't, you have the crate,
right?
But yeah, you could certainly restrict access altogether. And then, in fact, when you do the little obedience commands with her, I recommend, a couple of mini sessions every day, a minute, 2 minutes long, nothing too long. You can go in that big room where the trigger, where the triggered behavior happens, and just do some quick little obedience in there. Sit down, come stay, sit down, come stay for a minute or two, and then exit the room. So we start creating a new association with that room. Right? So you could do something like that. So she has access, but the whole purpose of her accessing that room is to work for you.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could do that, yeah, for sure. And again, I mean, if you can't supervise, like if I don't know how your house is situated, but if she's hanging out with you and you're on the computer or watching TV, I mean, obviously hang out with her, give her freedom. But if you can't, pretend she's 8 weeks old. Would you leave an 8-week-old puppy to roam free to do whatever the hell they want?
Right.
No. And remember, you're also still gathering information. She's with you 3 weeks, back from the shelter 2 days. Right. So like we talked about earlier, you're still kind of getting to know her. You're still gathering information. I'm sure you've provided Elise a lot of information so far. That information gathering is going to continue, especially once you start working here, right? So that daily massage, I'm sure you're petting her and giving her lots of attention. Daily massage is really effective if she has any kind of anxiety. That will certainly help with some anxiety. It will also help with relationship building.
Yeah, she loves that. Like, she'll let you know very clearly when she wants to be pet and loved on and all that. She loves it.
Good, beautiful. And then resource control is probably your best bang for the buck, and that's where nothing in life is for free. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? If she doesn't do something, she doesn't get something. So food, treats, affection, playtime, toys, going out, getting the leash put on. All these things are resources or privileges that she has to earn. So she just needs to perform an obedience command before she earns something.
Right.
Which you're probably doing already with feeding. You probably make her sit before you put that food bowl down.
Yeah, and she's very good about it. She most of the time just kind of does it by herself.
And that's resource control. You're doing it already. And the beautiful thing about it, when you make the dog earn everything, training becomes part of your life. There's no setting time aside. Training is all day, every day, all the time, because it's just part of our routine. Like brushing our teeth in the morning. We don't think about it. It's just something we do.
Right.
Hopefully you brush teeth in the morning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying is, I wake up, I brush my teeth, drink a cup of coffee, or drink a cup of coffee, brush my teeth. I didn't think of either one. It's just, it's a habit. And that's why resource control is so effective, because it helps us more than the dog to create good habits in us, because the more consistent we are, the more consistent the dog will be.
Right.
And again, I'll send you some more links on this, but let's do this. I'm going to reach out to Elise. I'm going to have her get you that collar. In the meantime, start adding some more structure and more stimulation, like we were just talking about, to her daily routine. And then as soon as you get the collar, shoot me a text, and and then we'll go over everything. And then maybe do you have decent access on your cell phone for like a Zoom video?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because then, and do you have someone else that can help you?
Yeah, I'm with my parents. So
oh, okay, like just someone to hold the phone so I can watch you walk her.
Oh yeah.
So what we would do is we basically go over the collar, putting it on her and stuff, and then I would or you could just you could just prop it up somewhere so I could see you walking her, and then I can kind of critique you a little bit. And then I have plenty of space up here. I have a whole room over there, but I usually bring a dog up here so I could show you what I want you to do with my dog.
Oh, great.
It's not as good as being in person, but it's the next best thing. So does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah,
and then
we'll work on restricting that room.
Yeah, and any little things that crop up, just shoot me a text. I'm an old man. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So if you text me after 10 and I don't get back to you, I'm probably sleeping. So.
Fair enough.
And like I said, anything pops up, just give me a call, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So that's a wrap. Yet another one in the books. I hope you guys are enjoying these. And these are real life examples of my video consults with real clients. And hopefully the topics, behaviors, and training content that we're covering is helping all you guys out as well. And don't forget, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and take a peek around my channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. Click that bell too so you get notified when I upload new content. And I really appreciate everyone's support, and please keep those questions coming, keep the ideas coming. Any content you want me to provide to you, please just let me know. I am literally here to serve you, and I mean that wholeheartedly, and I am so grateful and humbled by all of your support, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and God bless.